Hello and welcome to the weekly Kashmir University Video Digest Quest. First, a look at the highlights. Social Work Department organizes a 2-day conference on happy childhood. 6-day workshop on vetting and editing of Kashmiri translated text commences. And Environmental Science Department observes World Environment Week. Now the details of these events with your host Umar Malik. The Department of Social Work organized a 2-day conference titled Issues and Challenges in Ensuring Happy Childhood, a special focus on J&K. The 2-day conference is being organized in collaboration with Save the Children. In his inaugural remarks, Coordinator Department of Social Work Dr. Adil Bashir said that happy childhood cannot be uniform as it varies from one child to another depending on the environment they live in.
Happy childhood connotes a different meaning to the children in the state. For some children, happy childhood or cherishable moments are when they were living in the family prior to their parental loss. Or happy childhood for other children is that when any relative would come to meet a child in a home after his parental loss. And happy childhood for other children who are living in the far-flung areas is that having better educational facilities, transport facilities, access to health care, that is what the happy childhood is for them. I am reminded of a great Chilean poet, Gabriela Mistral, who said that we are guilty of many errors and our worst crime has been abandoning the children. This is the time when bones are made and blood is formed. Their name is today, we cannot answer them tomorrow. Ladies and gentlemen, this conference is very important and we are very happy that we have received so many scientific papers, and the idea is to deliberate, discuss and to put forward recommendations to the concerned departments.
Saying that children are future of any country, Mission Director, the Integrated Child Development Scheme, Mr. G.A. Sophie, said that the grievances and problems that children face are taken seriously by world organizations.
Children who grow in constant environment of conflict and the children who grow in constant environment of fear frequently exhibit antisocial behavior, self-harm, aggression, distrust of adults, dissociative disorders, substance abuse, attention deficit disorders. So, it is the primary duty of entire humanity to provide conducive environment to its children. It is well said that as the children, so the nation. So, it's high time that we must come together, join hands, work shoulder to shoulder, and redesign the world that our children will inherit tomorrow. The world community has been very serious about the children issues. As you know, UNCRC is a result of some of the major initiatives taken, like Child Labor Convention adopted in the year 1919, Geneva Declaration of the Rights of the Children 1924, Universal Declaration of Human Rights 1948, Declaration of Rights of the Children adopted by the General Assembly on 20th November 1959, Minimum Age Convention 1973, International Convention on Socio-Economic and Cultural Rights 1966, and so on and so forth.
Dean Law, University of Delhi, Professor Ved Kumari, while presenting the keynote address, said that during her research on this topic, she found that childhood of Kashmiri children versus other children presents a grim picture.
What do we mean by happy childhood? It only says with medical attention. It's not only that you provide medical attention that ensures happy childhood. So therefore I did what we most of the time do these days, do a Google search. So it's a Google search of saying happy childhood. And these are the images I got from Google. No specific, and of course there were lots of white children in those. I picked up some of the Asian children's figures. And I did find that there were bright, happy, smiling children out there. Then I did another search, and this is again from Google, images of children in Jammu and Kashmir, and it was shocking the kind of images I got there. All dark, oppressive, not happy childhood children images. Then I thought, let me just try and say happy children in Jammu and Kashmir, slightly better pictures, but still not comparable to what initial figures have shown. And I do understand that the difficult times in the last 2 decades or so, Jammu and Kashmir has faced and is still facing. It's not easy for children to be happy, but I do know that children are survivors. They deal with all difficult times with a lot more courage than we as adults do. They still find moments in those difficult periods of happiness. And I thought, let me just try to construct in our own heads, for all of us, as to what does that mean when we use the word or hear the word happy childhood. So what I want you to do, each one of you, and I request the dignitaries at the dais also to join me in this, to think of a happy childhood memory.
Registrar Dr. Nisar Ahmed Mir said that he believes that students studying in higher education should also be given happy environmental education.
Because now in university system we do have adults only. So I request Honorable Advisor also for some adulthood happiness. So as you know that we follow we synchronize with the guidelines of MHRD of access, equity and excellence. For access we have established different campuses at 7 campuses at different parts of the state which provide access to all students. Then in the equity part we also follow the reservation of which is provided in the constitution of J&K. Then again in the excellence part we try to be excellent, and very recently we have been awarded NAC grade A+, which has reflected that we march towards excellence also. So we have added a component to our university also. We have added a skill development component at university also, and our Directorate of Adult Education and Department of Social Work are quite ahead in providing the skill development to the new literators as well as to the literators of the state.
Advisor to the J&K Governor, Mr. Khurshid Ahmed Ganai, reminded participants that children living on the bare minimum need care, and as a conscious citizen, one needs to take care of those children who live below the poverty line.
So most of us in this room are here because possibly we belong to such families who can afford better child care at home, better education, better nutrition. But there are, I think we could not see the presentation, but there are vast sections of people in our state who are below poverty line, where the facilities of education are not available, where proper nutrition is not available, a decent living is not available to the children, including the adults, but because children need them more. So it is that section of society, the poorer sections of society, those who are educationally and socially backward, those areas which are far-flung, which don't have an access to medical facilities, to employment, to jobs, and to quality education. It is that group of people, it is that segment of society that we have to care more.
Acting Vice Chancellor Professor Nilofer Khan advised the organizers of the conference that the recommendations of the conference should be put forth before the relevant government departments.
It's a very important conference, and the recommendations of the conference should be put forth, and they should go to the relevant quarters so that they are implemented. So I do request that a serious effort is made on that so that the recommendations are forwarded to the government for their implementation, and so that it does not stop over here, it moves forward just to share, as the Honorable Advisor said, that happiness of adults is also very important. I have been to few countries, and I remember of UAE, they have a Minister of Happiness. And you know, what does that what's the portfolio of that Minister of Happiness is to organize, exhibition, melas, extracurricular activities for not only for children, even for the adults.
On the occasion, 3 books were released on juvenile justice. A 2-day workshop on Beat Air Pollution and Recent Advances in Environmental Science was organized by the Department of Environmental Science in collaboration with the Center of Research for Development. The workshop was organized on occasion of observance of World Environment Week. Welcoming the guests, Head Department of Environmental Sciences Professor Bashir Ahmed Ganai presented a brief history of the World Environment Week.
I would like to remind this gathering that World Environment Week is celebrated from 5th to 11th June, and 5th June being World Environment Day, which stimulates awareness of the environment and enhances political attention and public action. Every year, World Environment Day is hosted by a different city with a different theme and is commemorated with an international exposition in the week from 5th to 11th June. The United Nations theme for this year's World Environment Day is Beat Air Pollution and is being hosted by China, which with its growing green energy sector has emerged as a climate leader. The Chinese government has been able to showcase its innovation and progress towards a cleaner environment.
Saying that it took years for political leaders to realize the importance of environmental issues, Dean Research Professor Zafar Rishi said that the Republic of China holding this year's conference on World Environment Week is not surprising considering the steps it has taken to reduce the air pollution.
China is hosting this year's World Environment Day, and then there are reasons for China to hold this World Environment Day with the theme Beat Air Pollution. And they have, if you look at Beijing, that they have done considerably well with regard to the control of air pollution. If you go to Beijing, it's not a small place. It's a very big place, right? There are many people running cars, this, that, so on and so forth. And then yesterday in Nature, Environment Report, it came yesterday as an alert. They have, there is an interview of a very famous Chinese scientist who works on air pollution there. And there are articles also as to what has been the basis of Chinese success, which could be, say, somehow used in India for combating this air pollution. Somehow, you know that you have a different form of government in China. They had a very good, the first thing that they did was a very good monitoring system. Now, Chinese, they say that invested a lot through Chinese Academy of Sciences and had very high-end sophisticated instruments located at several places which were monitoring the air pollutants on a real-time basis. They somehow noticed that it is because of the large number of these cars which are plying on the roads of Beijing that is causing pollution. And they kept a gap. Some million cars, not more than this.
A few scholars presented their papers on the occasion.
On the eve of World Environment Day, which is the biggest annual event with participation from over 143 countries across the globe for the positive environmental action. World Environment Day was designated by the UN General Assembly in the year 1972 on the first day of United Nations Conference on Human Environment, and the first World Environment Day was held in 1973 with the theme Only One Earth. Since then, World Environment Day is being celebrated on 5th of June every year with a new theme in order to raise global awareness and action for the protection of our environment. The theme for World Environment Day 2019, Beat Air Pollution, is a call for action to stop air pollution that has become a global crisis now. Air pollution levels remain dangerously high in many parts of the world, and new data from WHO shows that 9 out of 10 people breathe air containing high levels of pollutants.
Assistant Professor and Organizing Secretary of the workshop, Dr. Arshad Jahangir, proposed the vote of thanks. Later, a photo poster exhibition on the environment was held in the campus. The 6-day workshop on vetting and editing of Kashmiri translated texts commenced with the inaugural function held in the Gandhi Bhavan. The Department of Linguistics is organizing this workshop. Presenting the introductory remarks of the seminar, Head Department of Linguistics, Professor Ijaz Ahmed Sheikh said that no language can remain aloof from the process of translation.
History is witness to the fact that nations and civilizations have adopted the vehicle of translation to borrow the scientific, literary, and other forms of knowledge from one another from ancient times. Now that the world has been turned into a global village, courtesy the internet and information technology, the importance of translation has increased manifold. The day-to-day research, scientific discoveries, and inventions reach every nook and corner of the world with the help of translation. Given this backdrop, it can be said that no language can remain aloof from the activity of translation in the present-day world. As far as Kashmiri language is concerned, a good deal of material has been translated into the language from various languages, including English, Urdu, Hindi, Arabic, Russian, French, etc. However, it is a fact that most of the translated texts are related to the domain of literature, and not much work has been done as far as scientific and other fields are concerned. As such, the National Translation Mission, Central Institute of Indian Languages, Mysore, deserves appreciation that it has taken up the job of translation of texts from other fields into Kashmiri language. Therefore, the present workshop holds great significance, wherein some vital texts belonging to the disciplines of history, political science, and sociology will be edited and vetted, thus paving way for publication of these texts in Kashmiri.
Registrar Dr. Nisar Ahmed Mir requested the Vice Chancellor to take up the issue of introducing the linguistic subject in higher education schools and colleges.
Most probably our department is also doing well in translating the different languages, different books into various languages, particularly in Kashmiri language. But unfortunately, again we had an issue, though now it is taught at primary level, our Kashmiri language. But I do wish that our languages at primary level are strengthened at school education, so that there is a benefit when our Department of Linguistics or any other department translates any book into Kashmiri. So our students can also be benefited, so that they could read the Kashmiri language. If they don't read, if they are not able to read the Kashmiri language, then it will be difficult again for. So regarding the other issues, I will also request Honorable Vice Chancellor to put a due to the state government for the introduction of Department of Linguistics at undergraduate and preferably at 10+2 level also, so that our students are also benefited.
Speaking on the occasion, Vice Chancellor Professor Talat Ahmed stressed the need of encouraging the local language for the benefit of society.
We should put all our efforts to do the best so that the society here gets benefited of whatever is available in other parts of the country and the world. So I wish you all a very successful workshop, and definitely as the head of the department and the registrar mentioned, we should try to put our feelings and do all the efforts to see that the Department of Linguistics become more dynamic and it has impression on the state, the higher education of the state, and also at the school level. The linguistic is important. I understand that they had a very long deliberation yesterday in the Board of Studies, in which some people from Aligarh whom I saw, so they were quite happy. I feel happy if somebody talks good about your own university and department.
Professor Talat advised teachers and participants that after getting A+ rank from the NAC, one must not complacent, as competition from universities will make it tough to maintain this rank.
We have to look into all the aspects and see where we lag behind. So we have to do now more hard work to maintain, because as you know that situation is now very, very competitive in the country and in the world. So we cannot sit like what we did earlier by getting A grade and then relax for more than 7-8 years. Now we have to work every day. Okay, and don't be surprised that it is going to be very, very tough even to maintain A+ in the next round of NAC, because the situation is very, very tight.
Assistant Professor Dr. Musawwir Ahmed conducted the proceedings of the function. That's all for today's episode. Log on to our website emmrckashmir.com, where you can check the latest episode of The Quest. You can also watch it on our YouTube channel, that is KU Television. You can also send us your valuable suggestions at our email address, that is quest@emmrckashmir.com. Before I take your leave, here are a few words of wisdom. Unthinking respect for authority is the greatest enemy of truth.